Ever wonder who the biggest rebel in the Bible was? It might not be who you think. Today, we're rediving deep into the story of a man who challenged Moses and God himself, a man named Korah. This isn't just a simple tale of disobedience. It's a dramatic, earth-shattering story about power, jealousy, and the terrifying consequences of rebellion. Get ready, because the ground is about to shake. So, who was Korah? To understand his rebellion, we first need to understand his background. Korah was a Levite, from the same tribe as Moses and Aaron. Specifically, he was a Kohathite, a very prestigious clan within the Levites. Numbers chapter 3 tells us the Kohathites were responsible for carrying the most sacred objects of the tabernacle, the Ark of the Covenant, the table of showbread, the lampstand, and the altars. This was a position of immense honor and responsibility. They were literally the closest you could get to the holy things of God without being a priest. Korah wasn't just some random guy in the crowd. He was a respected leader, a cousin to Moses and Aaron. Their grandfathers were brothers. So there was a family connection here, which probably made the eventual conflict even more personal and bitter. Being a Levite, and a Kohathite at that, Korah had a special status. He was set apart for God's service. But for Korah, it seems this wasn't enough. He saw his cousins, Moses and Aaron, in the ultimate positions of leadership: Moses as the prophet and leader of all Israel, and Aaron as the high priest. And a seed of jealousy began to grow. The rebellion itself is detailed in Numbers chapter 16. It wasn't just Korah acting alone. He was a skilled organizer. He managed to gather 250 other leaders of the community, well-known men, to join his cause. He wasn't just whispering in the corners. He was staging a full-blown public challenge. He also allied himself with 3 men from the tribe of Reuben, Dathan, Abiram, and On. The Reubenites had their own grievances. Reuben was Jacob's firstborn son, and be right, his tribe should have had a preeminent role, but that leadership had passed to others. So, you have this coalition of the discontented Levites who wanted the priesthood and Reubenites who wanted political leadership. Their accusation against Moses and Aaron was clever and populist. They came to them and said, "You have gone too far. The whole community is holy, every one of them, and the Lord is with them. Why then do you set yourselves above the Lord's assembly?" On the surface, this sounds almost spiritual, doesn't it? They're saying, hey, we're all holy. We're all God's people. Who are you to act like you're special? It's a classic play for power disguised as a call for equality. They accused Moses and Aaron of nepotism and self-aggrandizement, of lifting themselves up above everyone else. But Moses saw right through it. When he heard this, he fell face down, a sign of deep distress and submission to God. Then he stood up and confronted Korah directly. His response is incredibly revealing. Sa'id, tu Korah, isn't it enough for you that the God of Israel has separated you from the rest of the Israelite community and brought you near himself to do the work at the Lord's tabernacle and to stand before the community and minister to them? He has brought you and all your fellow Levites near himself. But now you are trying to get the priesthood too. Moses exposed Korah's true motive. It wasn't about the holiness of the community. It was about ambition. Korah had a privileged position, but he wanted more. He coveted the priesthood, the role that God had exclusively given to Aaron and his descendants. Moses framed the rebellion not as a fight against him and Aaron, but as a fight against God. It is against the Lord that you and all your followers have banded together. Who is Aaron that you should grumble against him? This was the heart of the matter. They weren't just questioning human leaders. They were questioning God's divine appointments. The confrontation escalates. Moses summons Dathan and Abiram, the Reubenite leaders. But they refuse to come. Their response is dripping with contempt. They mock Moses, saying, "Isn't it enough that you have brought us up out of a land flowing with milk and honey to kill us in the wilderness? And now you also want to lord it over us? Moreover, you have yet brought us into a land flowing with milk and honey, or given us an inheritance of fields and vineyards." They twist the entire narrative of the Exodus, calling Egypt the land of their slavery, a land flowing with milk and honey, and accusing Moses of failing to deliver on his promises. Their rebellion was a total rejection of Moses' leadership and God's plan. Now, we get to the climax of the story. With the rebels refusing to back down, Moses proposes a test to let God decide the matter. He tells Korah and his 250 followers to take their censers to fire pans used for burning incense and put incense in them before the Lord the next day. Aaron would do the same. God would then show who was truly chosen by consuming the offering of the one he approved. Essentially, Moses was saying, "You want to act like priests? Fine. Let's see if God accepts you as priests." This was an incredibly dangerous test. Remember the story of Nadab and Abihu, Aaron's own sons, who were struck down by God for offering unauthorized fire. Offering incense was a sacred, priestly duty, and performing it without authorization was a capital offense. The next day, the rebels gathered at the entrance to the tent of meeting, opposite Moses and Aaron. The tension must have been unbearable. The glory of the Lord then appeared to the entire assembly, and God spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, "Separate yourselves from this assembly so I can put an end to them at once." God was ready to wipe out all of Israel because the rebellion had poisoned the whole camp. But once again, Moses and Aaron interceded. They fell face down and pleaded with God, "O God, the God who gives breath to all life, will you be angry with the entire assembly when only one man sins?" Their plea was successful, but only partially. God agreed to spare the assembly but instructed them to move away from the tents of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram. Moses then gave a solemn warning to the people. He declared that if these rebels died a natural death, then the Lord had not sent him. But if the Lord did something totally new, the earth opened its mouth and swallowed them alive, then everyone would know that these men had treated the Lord with contempt. And then the unthinkable happened. As soon as Moses finished speaking, the ground beneath the rebels split apart. The earth opened its mouth and swallowed them, Korah, Dathan, Abiram, their families, and all their possessions. They went down alive into the grave, and the earth closed over them. They vanished from the community. At the same time, fire came out from the Lord and consumed the 250 men who were offering incense. The judgment was swift, specific, and absolutely terrifying. It was a clear and horrifying demonstration of God's power and a validation of Moses and Aaron as leadership. The story doesn't even end there. The very next day, the Israelite community, instead of being terrified into submission, started grumbling against Moses and Aaron again. They said, "You have killed the Lord's people." It's incredible, isn't it? They had just witnessed a divine earth-shattering judgment, and their immediate reaction was to blame the leaders. This shows just how deep the spirit of rebellion ran. In response, a plague broke out among the people, and 14,700 more people died before Aaron rushed in with his censer to make atonement and stand between the living and the dead. So, what are the big takeaways from this intense story? First, it's a powerful warning against pride and ambition. Korah had a place of honor, but it wasn't enough for him. He wanted more, and his ambition led to his destruction. It reminds us to be content with the roles and gifts God has given us, rather than jealously coveting what others have. Second, the story highlights the danger of challenging God-ordained authority. While we should always speak out against true injustice, Korah's rebellion wasn't based on righteousness. It was based on envy. He wasn't just questioning Moses. He was questioning the God who appointed Moses. Finally, the story of Korah is a sobering reminder of the holiness of God and the seriousness of sin. The judgment was severe because the sin was severe. It was a direct attack on God's authority and holiness. The story of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram serves as a permanent landmark in Israel's history, a chilling testament to the consequences of rebellion. It's a dark chapter, but one filled with crucial lessons about leadership, humility, and the awesome power of God. Thanks for watching. If you found this story as fascinating as I do, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into the Bible's most dramatic stories. Let me know in the comments what you think about Korah's rebellion. See you next time.